Hello everyone, welcome to English class. Dear students, as you know that we have been reading lesson number 5, Princess September from the book It So Happened. So open your books, page number 41. We are going to start from the page number 41. If we talk about previous part, then we have read that the Princess September got new singing bird who became the matter of jealous for others, and so all eight sisters filled September's mind with doubts. Means as the bird used to roam around the room freely, and so they told her to put him into the cage, advise her to put the bird into cage so that the bird will never go, and she will never live alone. And Princess September followed the scene because she didn't want to lose the bird. So let's start reading. Don't be such an old silly, said September. I have put you in the cage because I am so fond of you. I know what's good for you much better than you do yourself. Sing me a little song and I will give you a piece of sugar. As we in the last para, we have read that the Princess September put the bird into the cage, and he was asking to come, please let me out. But he was asking for his freedom. He began crying for his freedom, but the September asked him to stop being silly and understand that she was doing it because she liked him, right? So she claimed to know it better than himself about what was actually good for him. She asked him to sing a song for which he would get a piece of sugar. But the little bird stood in the corner of his cage, looking out at the blue sky and never sang a note. But the little bird stood on the edge of his cage as he gazed at the blue sky. He was completely still, stiff. He didn't want to sing even a single word. He did not sing a note. What's the good of sucking? Said September. Why don't you sing and forget your troubles? Here is the word sucking, which means be silent. Okay, and bad temper out of a noise or disappointment. So, this kind of condition called sucking, and the Princess September explained, asked him that staying sad would do him no good. Okay, what's the good of sucking? Why don't you sing and forget your troubles? The word, and he told him that she told rather he should sing because it would make him forget about his problems. Next, how can I sing? Answered the bird. I want to see the trees and the lake and the green rice growing in the fields. I will take you out every day, she said. The bird expressed that it was nearly impossible for him to sing in a cage when he actually wanted to watch the trees, the lake, and the green rice that were growing in the field. September offered to take him out every day. Right? So it's not the same thing, said the little bird. The rice fields and the lake and the willow trees look quite different when you see them through the bars of a cage. So, but the bird was not convinced as it would not be the same for him. Okay, if you are watching a thing freely, completely out of the world, then it looks beautiful. But when you are stuck in a cage and you can't imagine all these things in the same way. So similarly, the bird was saying all things will not would not be the same. So according to him, there was no pleasure in seeing the rice fields, the lake, and the willow trees through the bars of a cage. There will be not any use. The bird wouldn't the bird wouldn't sing a song and he wouldn't eat a thing. The princess was a little anxious at this and asked her sisters what they thought about it. You must be firm, they said, but if he won't eat, he will die, she answered. So here is a word firm which means unlikely to change, right? So the bird refused to eat okay, and he won't even sing. So this made September a bit concerned, and she thought about taking advice from her sisters. Her sisters suggested that she should stay strong, firm, and unbothered, right? But September was worried that the little bird would die if he did not eat. Okay, so her, but that would be very ungrateful of him, they said. He must know that you are only thinking of his own good. If he is obstinate and dies, it will serve him right, and you will be well rid of him. So her sisters thought it would be very unthankful of him, because he must realize that whatever Princess September was doing was for his own good. If he still remained stubborn and died, and if he will not eat anything and will not sing anything and will remain like this only, and means stubborn and died because of it, it would only do justice, and the princess would also get rid of someone who was unappreciative of her efforts. Okay, so in this way they are just telling the wrong things to princess. September didn't see how that was going to be her very much good, but they were aged to one and all older than she, so she said nothing, right? So September, on the other hand, failed to see how their advice was of any good, but she gave them a benefit of the doubt, as they were all older than her and more in numbers. Okay, so they were eight, she was only one, and all were older elder sisters. So she thought that all were saying correct, and perhaps he will have got used to his cage by tomorrow, she said. So she just hoped that the bird would get used to the cage by the following day. And next day, when she awoke, she cried out, "Good morning," in a cheerful voice. She got no answer. She jumped out of bed and ran to the gate. She gave a startled cry, for there the little bird lay. As you can see, here is the golden cage, and here is the bird, and now you can see the expressions of Princess September. She was not so cheerful. Okay, so here is a word startled, which means feeling or showing sudden shock or alarm. So the following day means the next day, Princess September woke up in a cheerful mood and wished good morning to the little bird in an exciting voice. When she received no answer, she instantly got out of her bed and rushed towards the cage. The Princess September cried out of shock as she saw the little bird lying on one side at the bottom of the cage. Okay, as you can see, and she was very shocked to see all this thing. So the little bird lay at the bottom on his side with his eyes closed, and he looked as if he were dead. She opened the door and, putting her hand in, lifted him out. She gave a sob of relief, for she felt that his little heart was beating still. Okay, so his eyes were closed, which made her think he was dead. The princess opened the cage and lifted him out in her hand. She cried tears of relief when she felt his heart beat. Okay, means the bird was still alive. She gently asked him to wake up. Wake up, little bird, she said. She gently asked him to wake up. She began to cry, and her tears fell on the little bird. He opened his eyes and saw that the bars of the cage were no longer around him. "I cannot sing unless I am free, and if I cannot sing, I die," he said. The princess gave a great sob. Okay, so what was the life of the bird? And the bird was very feeling bad, as he didn't get his freedom, and he was in the cage, and because of all these things he was not able to eat, he was not able to sing. So she, and when he didn't, she began weeping, and when her tears fell upon him, okay, means when she lifted him out, right? So when he didn't She began weeping, and when her tears fell upon him, he opened his eyes. When he saw that he was no longer caused by bars, he began speaking. He told the princess that he can't sing in a cage, and if he won't sing, he would die. Okay, this made the princess cry even louder. The princess gave a great sob. Okay, she started crying aloud, right? Then take your freedom, she said. I shut you in a golden cage because I loved you and wanted to have you all to myself. But I never knew it would kill you. I love you enough to let you be happy in your own way. So she didn't know that this made the princess cry even louder. She offered him his freedom. She confessed that she locked him in a cage because she loved him and wanted to have him all by herself. She didn't know that her actions could kill him. She further told him that now she loved him enough to let him be happy in his own way. She threw open the window and gently placed the little bird on the sill. She shook himself a little. Come on, come and go as you will, little bird, she said. I will never put you in a cage any more. So the little bird slightly shook himself. She opened the window and softly placed the bird on the foot of the window. The little bird shook himself. The princess told him that he was free to come and go as he pleased and that she would never lock him in a cage. Next, come and go. So I will come because I love you, little princess, said the bird, and I will sing you the loveliest song I know. Shall go far away, but I shall always come back, and I shall never forget you. He gave himself another shake. Good gracious me, how stiff I am, he exclaimed. Okay, so good gracious, exclamation of surprise, and stiff means hardened, non-flexible. So the bird replied and told the princess that he would definitely come back as he loved her too. He promised that he would sing the most amazing songs for her. He said that it was important for him to fly away, but he assured her that he would always come back and would never forget her. He shook himself again and exclaimed surprisingly about how non flexible he had been lately. Okay, here you can see the picture. Here is the princess and here is the free bird. Okay, and they were talking and they were thanking to each other. Now, next, then he opened his wings and flew away into the blue. But the little princess burst into tears, for it is very difficult to put the happiness of someone you love before your own. And with her little bird far out of sight, she felt all of a sudden very lonely. When her sisters knew what had happened, they mocked her and said that the little bird would never return. But he did at last, and he sat on September's shoulder and ate out of her hand and sang her the beautiful songs he had learned while he was flying up and down the fair places of the world. September kept her window open day and night so that the little bird might come into her room whenever he felt inclined, and this was very good for her. So she grew extremely beautiful. Okay, so here is the word mocked. Okay, and the meaning of the word is tease or laugh at in a scornful or contemptuous manner. Here is the word. Okay, and yes, everyone, I am reading on page number 43, the last page of this chapter. Okay, and the second last para. So the bird spread open his wings as he got permission to fly and flew straight in the blue sky. Blue here means the sky. The little princess, on the other hand, began crying miserably, burst into tears, crying miserably, as it is very difficult for one to put the happiness of someone you love before your own, and with her little bird no longer in sight, she felt lonely. As as the bird flew away, so she was not able to see her, so she felt lonely. When her eight sisters got to know about it, they made fun. They mocked her, they made fun of her, and told her that he would never come back. But he did. He would sit on September's shoulder and eat out of her hand, ate out of her hand, and sang the most loveliest song for her that he had learned while he was flying above the fair places of the world. Okay, so the little princesses never closed the windows of her room as to allow the bird to come in as he desired. This also proved to be amazing for her, and she grew up to be immensely pretty and graceful. Right as she caught the company of the bird, and he always moved come and uh, he always used to move in and move out according to his will, and always used to sing the beautiful songs to the princess. So all these things made the girl very pretty. Okay, and she grew up to be the immensely pretty and graceful. The last para of this story. And when she was old enough, she married the king of Cambodia and was carried on a white elephant all the way to the city in which the king lived. But her sisters never slept with their windows open, so they grew extremely ugly as well as disagreeable. And when the time came to marry them off, they were given away to the king's counselors with a pound of tea and a Siamese cat. Okay, so what happened? Uh, Here is the word disagreeable means unpleasant, and pound of tea, pound is a unit of weight, right? So when the little princess grew old enough, she got married to the king of Cambodia, and she rode a white elephant, very rare, anybody can found, so to anybody can get to the city where the king lived. Her eight sisters on the other hand never kept their windows open at night, and so they grew up to be ugly and unpleasant. Upon reaching their age, they were given away, or in other words, married to the king's counselors with some tea and a Siamese cat. Right? So, here is the end of the story, and I hope you all have read and enjoyed the story very much. The story is all about the freedom of a bird. Obviously, the birds are for the sky only, not for the cages. Okay, and we have no right to bind anybody's freedom. We can't stop freedom, or we can't get uh, anybody's happiness over our happiness, right? So please keep reading the lesson, and try to read by your own first, and obviously when you read by your own, you will get more enjoyment and more interest in this story. Thank you so much.